These are 5 characters from the Harry Potter books that are in all the films, but I don't think we've done enough justice. It's nothing against the actors, it's more to do with screen time that these characters were given in the films and potentially the writing. These characters are all elite in the books and they deserve more in the upcoming TV series. Oliver Wood was the captain of the Gryffindor Quidditch team during the first 3 years of Harry's time at Hogwarts until he left the school at the end of the Prisoner of Azkaban book. Now he is in the first 2 films, and to be fair, I have no qualms about his screen time or portrayal in the first 2 stories. It's more the third, he is axed from the third film completely. And it's a shame because I find his whole character in the third book really funny. It's his last year at Hogwarts, and unless I am mistaken, he has never won the Quidditch Cup at Hogwarts. They didn't win in Harry's first year, as Harry was absent from the Quidditch final due to the small matter of having a fight with Voldemort, who was sticking out the back of Quirrell's head. And in Harry's second year, the tournament was cancelled due to Hermione and another student being attacked by the basilisk. So basically, Wood starts his final year at Hogwarts with a mania about finally winning. It doesn't really start very well for him, unfortunately. In the first Quidditch match of the year, the Dementors turn up and Harry almost dies when he falls off his broom and they lose pretty drastically. The whole team, barring Wood, turn up to the hospital wing to make sure Harry is okay, and the Weasley twins say that Wood is trying to drown himself in the changing room showers. When Harry is sent a firebolt as a present, McGonagall is worried that it has been sent by Sirius Black, which in fairness it was. And she then confiscates it for testing to make sure that it is safe to be flown on. Wood is absolutely fuming and demands that she gives it back, saying he didn't care if it threw Harry off it as long as he caught the snitch first. At least he's got his priorities right. All the worry was for nothing though, as they did end up winning the Quidditch Cup at the end of this year, but I just love how completely obsessed he gets by Quidditch throughout the first 3 books. Especially in the second and third books, where everybody else is freaking out about the Chamber of Secrets and Sirius Black, Wood never really seems remotely interested in these silly sideshows and only seems to care about Quidditch. After he leaves Hogwarts, he joins a professional Quidditch team. Sadly, we barely ever hear from him again, but he does turn up to play his part in the Battle of Hogwarts at the end. I wonder if he ever stopped talking about Quidditch long enough to kill some Death Eaters. I am quite excited for the TV series to see more of Wood, and generally for us as viewers to get a bit more stuck into the Quidditch season than we get a chance to in the films. To be clear here, Ron's portrayal in the films is excellent and Rupert Grint does a fantastic job. However, in the books, Ron's character is more layered, and it's probably nothing to do with the actor, but maybe screen time or the writing don't do the justice that it deserves. In my opinion, Ron's character in the books is the most complicated of Ron's, Harry's and Hermione's. He's really funny and is basically the constant conveyor of comedy throughout the whole series. He's got an excellent sense of humour, and Harry and Ron are constantly laughing and having banter throughout the books, especially the 3rd to the 6th book. But we do get the comedy from Ron in the film series. In fact, I feel almost as though that's the main thing that we get in the films from Ron. But in the books, he's not just funny, he's also actually very insecure and sensitive. We don't fully see this in the film, so when he does fall out with Harry in the Goblet of Fire, or when he leaves the group in the Deathly Hallows, it seems a bit random. But in the books, we regularly see him being very sensitive about being laughed at and very touchy about how poor his family is. He's also very self-conscious about the fact that he's never had a girlfriend or kissed a girl, until he eventually does in the 6th book. Draco Malfoy is horrible to basically everyone, but his taunts always seem to bother Ron more than Harry or Hermione. Ron's also got the capability to be a bit cruel or insensitive to other people. He's always the one to make a funny but slightly inappropriate joke that ends up offending someone. Hilariously, he always makes jokes at the feasts at nearly headless Nick, which end up upsetting him and causing him to storm or glide off. Ron's character is excellent though, and I want to see every different part of it in the TV series just like we do in the books. I think what I love about Ron's character is that he is imperfect but feels the most realistic out of the three. Now, Maggie Smith is a national treasure, and I do not think a single person on the planet could portray McGonagall as well as she does. It is probably one of the best portrayals of a character in this whole series. But my qualm is that she's not given enough screen time, not nearly enough. She's staple of Hogwarts, proper Hogwarts bread and butter. She's probably the most strict of all the teachers. It's definitely either between her or Snape. But unlike Snape, she's really fair and really cares for Harry, although she barely ever shows it. The fact that she is so strict all the time and takes no nonsense means that when she does show Harry that she cares, it makes it all the more heartwarming. But most of all, nobody can mug someone off as well as she does. Her interactions with Sybil Trelawney are absolutely hilarious in the Prisoner of Azkaban book. We don't really see any of this in the films, unfortunately. She hates the subject of divination and thinks that Trelawney is a complete fraud, which to be fair, she definitely is. She has absolutely no patience for any of Trelawney's rubbish and doesn't try and hide it. The Christmas dinner scene in the third book is one of my favourite scenes in this entire story. I absolutely love the idea of Dumbledore, Snape and a small handful of students sat on a table at Christmas lunch in the Great Hall eating their Christmas dinner whilst McGonagall makes fun of Trelawney to her face. Please let us see this in the TV series. Most of all though, she's basically the only teacher in the school that really gives Umbridge a run for her money in the Order of the Phoenix book. Umbridge has got a unique talent for being more horrible and nasty than anyone can possibly imagine. But she meets her match in McGonagall. When she tries to inspect McGonagall's class, she is immediately shut down and told not to speak and to sit quietly in the corner. Watching the two of them face off in this book is brilliant. But most of all, I want to see Harry's careers consultation, which Umbridge insists on sitting in on, very much to her expense. McGonagall ignores her, calls her an incompetent teacher, and Harry leaves the meeting with both teachers squaring up to each other, bellowing in each other's face. Please give us more McGonagall in the TV series. I don't know if this is controversial. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with me, but I think in the films we miss out on the true depth of Dumbledore's character. Dumbledore has a very complicated past and we don't get the full story in the films. In the books, we learn all about how Dumbledore met Grindelwald off the back of family tragedy, the death of his mother and imprisonment of his father. During their friendship, they obsessed together over the Deathly Hallows and actually craved wizard rule over muggles. In Dumbledore's biography, written by Rita Skeeter, a letter was revealed from Dumbledore to Grindelwald, where Dumbledore actually gave Grindelwald the idea of conquering muggles for the greater good. For the greater good became Grindelwald's slogan when he committed all the atrocities that he did later in his life. During the Deathly Hallows book, Harry discovers all this and has a real internal struggle when he learns all this about his hero. We also learn that a fight broke out between Grindelwald, Albus and Aberforth, Dumbledore's brother, and in this fight one of them accidentally killed Ariana, Dumbledore's sister. In the confusion of the fight, they never actually found out who the person was that cast the spell that killed Ariana, but this tortured Dumbledore until his dying day. When he and Harry journey to the lake to try and find one of Voldemort's Horcruxes, Dumbledore drinks the potion that drives him delirious and relives the moment that Ariana was killed. Dumbledore is one of the most fascinating, complicated characters in this series, and I want to delve more into his character in the TV series than we had time to in the films. Most of all though, I want his temperament and his personality to be accurate. Dumbledore is obviously the most powerful or joint most powerful character in this whole story and therefore very intimidating. However, in the books he virtually never needs to hold himself as such. In the books he is calm and collected 99% of the time. Even in stressful and tense situations, he manages to remain calm and even make wise cracks. This means that when he does get angry, it is far more impactful. The most classic example of this discrepancy between the books and films is of course the Goblet of Fire film, where for whatever reason the character's calm demeanour makes way for a lot of angry shouting throughout the film, which isn't really true to the books.
I protest! Harry! I protest!
Harry, you put your name in the Goblet of Fire.
No, sir.
You asked one of the older students to do it for you?
No, sir.
You're absolutely sure?
In the TV series, I want an accurate portrayal of Dumbledore start to finish, as he is such an important character to the story. And in the top spot, it's, yep, you guessed it, Ginny Weasley, of course. No complaints in the first few films, as she is timid and quiet in the books as well, and she is portrayed as such in the corresponding films. But Order of Phoenix onwards, I'm not having it. The films just do her no justice whatsoever. Ginny is a badass. She transforms in the Order of the Phoenix book. She becomes a powerful, funny, strong, independent character who is really popular amongst everybody. It would be great to see her character develop properly in the TV series, as respectfully, it was completely missed from the films. Throughout the Order of the Phoenix book, Harry starts to dimly realise that Ginny is a strong, loyal friend and a core part of Dumbledore's army. This comes to complete fruition throughout the Half-Blood Prince book, where he starts to fall in love with her. We don't really get to see Harry falling for Ginny in the film, it just seems to sort of happen. In the book though, we see the full development of this. Harry starts to realise he is attracted to her both in terms of looks and personality. But then he undergoes a serious internal crisis. He feels awful about having these feelings for her and starts to question what it means about himself. He's always thought of Ginny as a little sister, and therefore it causes him some confusion. He is also initially convinced that Ron will be furious with him for fancying her. He probably wastes around 6 months in his 6th year at Hogwarts, where he is suppressing his true feelings for Ginny before they eventually get together. I am not sure how this struggle will be portrayed in the TV series, but I do hope we get to see the full development of Harry's feelings for Ginny. Ginny is also a very powerful witch. She particularly has a reputation for being highly accomplished at the Bat Bogey Hex, a hex that turns the target's bogeys into massive bats that fly out of their nose. It is something that, in the books, gains her a bit of fame as she attacks several people with it when they annoy her, including Malfoy. I want to see her destroy people with it in the TV series. We see Neville Longbottom's character develop properly in the films, but what we don't see is that in the books, Ginny's character actually develops just as much as Neville's character, if not more. So all I ask is that it is done justice in the TV series. Although granted, we are going to have to wait years to find out. Okay, they are my top 5. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel for more of the same.